Hi guys, Dorothy here at Done by Dorothy, and we are here today. We're working on our Touch of Nature journal, and we're finishing up our covers. So that is what we're doing today. So I thought I would walk you through the process. First, my covers are 6 by 9 because our journal signatures are 8.5. So I do 9. That gives a 1/4 inch on each side, and then the width of our journal is 5.5. So I actually allow a 1/2 inch on the edge because we have our lace and stuff once we add it. And I was gonna add the lace before, but I decided I would put it in the journal so I could gauge as I added the lace, what it looked like from the outside of the journal. So that's why I'm doing the covers now. So I've got my spine is 2.25 inches, which means one signature will be at a 1/2 inch, 1 inch, one will be at 1 1/8 inch, and one at 1 3/4. So that's where those are going. So let's get started. This is double-sided carpet tape. You can buy this at your hardware store or any place like that. That is what I'm going to use on where my joints between my cover and my spine are. Specifically because, let me see if I can pull this off, and hopefully you'll be able to see. I don't know if you can see or not, but it actually is a fabric-based tape, so it's going to give it that extra edge you would get by you. If you don't have this, you could use Tyvek or Tyvek. You can use Tyvek from like envelopes, things like that. You could use different things, but this is just what I'm going to use. And let's see, I'm going to try to move this around where I can do it and see it, but you guys can still see it too. And we need about 1/8 of an inch, and I just sort of estimate that, making sure it's even. And I'm just going to put a little bit over because I can always wrap it around the other side. And I'm just going to sort of center it on there. It is extremely sticky, so mine is actually on a glass mat, so that sort of helps it from. Yep, it does. So, and then I look over here, double check to make sure it's somewhat centered and still leveled, that nothing slid. Then if you need to move anything around, you can. And then glue it down, push it down, and sort of burnish it really good. Rubbing it in really, really good. Okay. So let's get this other side done. And again, I'm only going to do about 1/8 of an inch gap. I like having that little bit of extra. Ooh, I pulled off way too much tape. And again, I'm just going to sort of center this up. And it does not have to line up perfect. It's going to be hidden under our cover. And then fold it under. And then, like, you can see how bendy that is. I mean, I can fold it completely in half, which you don't get that a lot of times if you're using paper or anything like that. It will rip. So I would sort of bend it and burnish it. Again, bend it and just burnish it, rub it all in really, really well. This is also the tape that I use when I make my fabric washi. I have a DIY video for fabric washi. So, if you've already got this for that, it works great for your covers too. And it's fairly inexpensive. You can find it. And this is a silicone brush, which I probably shouldn't be using for this. I'll use this end. I'm just trying to make sure it's sort of, that tape adheres to the other tape in my little divot there, because that's doing that will help add. Just adding pressure will help that seal to itself. And there we go. Nice, flexible. I mean, that did really, really good. And this is double-sided. So here in a minute, when we get ready to glue, then we'll take this off. But first, we need to, then I'll be able to probably show you I needed my pokey tool. And when you pull the tape off, or the paper backing off, you'll notice it almost reminds you, and I'm just going to leave this like this, it almost reminds you of medical tape. And I've never used medical tape because medical tape, obviously, it comes off. It's removable. This, once you get it there, it's pretty sturdy. I mean, I have to sit and actually pick at it to get the corner up. But I don't know if you can, let me see if I can pull it up. If you can see, trying to get it to focus, but it's more like, really like a fabric tape. Hopefully you can see that fabric part in there. Now see, when I burnished this, I made sure the corners I didn't burnish extremely well. Just the teeny tiny little corners, because I wanted to make sure that I could, the tape, I didn't want to tear, so then I'll go back in. And you've got to pull on it pretty hard to even get it up. It just doesn't want to come up. Okay. So we have that. Then let me, I'm going to put one on this side. I like to put it on both sides just because I like knowing that, I guess hinges, I don't know what part of the foldy part of the spine. I'm not sure exactly what you call the corner of where, where the spine and everything meets. I like knowing that that's sturdy, because if you've dealt with journals any, you'll know that that is usually where the weakest part of your journal is. A lot of times if you use paper especially, it'll crack and break your paper. Okay. Then I'm here, and I'm just going to, and you can use anything to do this. You can use your bone folder or whatever. I'm using this because I have it right here, so that makes it handy. And I'm going to go thin burnish it really, really well. There we go. And then I'm going to take my scissors, making sure I'm not cutting into the side, because we want to make sure that glue stays there on the sides. Although when we wrap it, it's so close, it should probably be okay. You don't want to cut into your actual spine or your covers at all. Get these out of the way because it gets everywhere. And you'll see, if you search YouTube or blogs or Facebook or whatever, everybody has a different way of doing it. So just because I do it this way doesn't mean that you have to do it this way. Okay, so this is our inside. This is our outside. And again, I'm going to burnish this really good. Okay. And then again, I'm going to fold it again, sort of stretching that. I know it seems like that's probably a lot to do just for that, but yeah, so you've got that nice sturdy, it's covered from both sides. You've got a lot of support there. That's going to hold your cover for a long time and keep it from breaking or anything. So I'm going to set that to the side. I'm actually going to be using masking paper. This is painter's masking paper on the cover of mine. I'm going to be adding other stuff over, but this is what I want the basis to be. So I've made it extra long than what I need. It's extra wide. I'm sorry for the noise. And I'm just wadding it into a ball. Because this is probably my favorite kind of cover to do. And then I'll pull it out and then I'll do it one more time. Making sure as you pull it out you don't rip it or anything because it's not super thick paper. Okay. And then I'll wad it up again. Making sure I squeeze it. And this probably, doing the cover will probably be 2 parts. I will do the outside cover and then I like to let it I like to let it dry before I do the inside. So it probably will be two parts. Okay. That's what I was looking for. And I'm pulling it out just a little bit. I'm not, undoing it all. Just sort of widening. And as you can see, it's going to give me that nice inch to wrap around on my cover right along the edge. So okay, and I always have extra. I'd rather have extra than not enough. I'm going to start with the center of my spine. Okay, and we've cut this off, so this is going to be a lot easier to grab. And I'm just going to pull that off. And you'll see how much easier that is with you got that. Well, now that I say that, I won't be able to do it. Oh, there it went. And it just pulls right up. And I don't know if right there you could really see, that woven look of that. Okay. And then I've got my silicone brush. And I'm actually taking the cover off of my art glitter glue. Ah! It's stuck. And I'm going to use my brush and just brush. And this silicone brush works really well. And I am going to go across, a little bit of a ways. And you just got to make sure you move fast because it will dry on you. And you don't want it to dry. I'm trying to make sure I don't have a bunch of glue piled like in my little thing right there. Okay. And again, we're gonna, well, I'll do a different thing on that, this one. And push it down on there. And then right where it's at, just sort of work it in. And I'm just rubbing, putting pressure down. Okay. And you'll see there'll be places where it sticks and places where it won't. So I'll hold this right here. And one thing with using art glitter glue is it does dry really fast. And I am trying to make sure I have a really nice coat. And you'll find as you make journals, depending on the type of cover you make, your process will change. You'll do different things for different styles. And that's the, really cool thing about crafting is everybody has a different style and you do things differently. Okay, I'm going to feel that starting to tack up. So I'm going to set this aside again. I'm just going to sort of pull that tight where it doesn't take the wrinkles out, but it does, it's not all bunched up super under there. Okay, there's that side. Oh, I got a glue. And this will adhere really well. And the silicone brush, like I said, works really well doing this. I may have to put a little more on here. But I'm just doing, it looks like there's a lot, but there's really not near as much as what you think's on here. And the art glitter glue does hold extremely well, which I like because I don't want it to, a lot of times I could use glue stick, things like that, but it tends to, at least for me, I tend to have a lot of issues with it buckling and, giving. Okay, let's put my brush up there. And again, I'm pulling tight. You guys can't see that. I'm just like pulling so it has a slight bit of pressure against it and then pushing down. Just applying pressure. Rubbing my fingers off where I got them all sticky. And turn it over. Oh yeah, nice. Get a little bit on the corners. We have to make sure we get down on the corners really well, but it's adhering very nicely. Okay, I'm gonna put this on. And my paper doesn't want to come up. And I'm just going to set this to the side. I'm not going to throw it away. Oh, let me pull this other one up too here. And again, I'm just setting those to the side because I'm going to reuse those to cover the middle. Oh, I need to just, let's actually. Find my silicone brush. And see, that makes it possible to do that really nice thin coat right through there. And again, I'm not going to worry about the wrinkles. If there's wrinkles, you're just going to push down through it. Let me get my... Okay, then I'm just going to come in and this about. This doesn't have to be exact because this is going to be covered up when you do the inside. So I'm going to cut that off. And I'm going to sort of cut this down some. Like that. I'm going to move over here and do the same thing. I'm going to do them both layers. And you'll see, I don't really care whether that... Let me get my scissors out of there. Okay, so let's get some more glue on our brush here. And if you do a little bit of it's better to do a little where you can always add more than to do too much and have so much you can't control it, which, you know, if I just doled a bunch out. And you don't have to use art glitter glue. Like I said, you can use, you know, all kinds of different glues, whatever you deem appropriate for you. And I'm going to start this in the middle again. And I'm just going to push it up. And again, if it wrinkles, that's the nature of the type of cover we're doing. So we're just going to slide it up in there. Okay. And I'm going to grab the corners and fold that corner in because and if I go to, you know, do it, just tap a little glue on it. The art glitter glue sticks really well, so again, I'm going to do this in the same way. Put a little glue under there. And then again, just go through there and push those down. Again, if it wrinkles, don't worry about it. That's part of the nature of it. So, and just come down here and we will do these corners first. Has a little bit of glue left on there. Again, I just put a little bit of glue there. So I'll just sort of stick that corner in. Just a teeny tiny bit. And then again, we're going to just sort of pull it and push. Okay, put my lid back on over here because everything looks good. And then what I like to do is I've got my little bitty, micro tip for the art glitter glue on anyway. And do be prepared for your hands to get a little dirty, a little gluey. So if I have something that needs, on the edge, I can just squeeze that little bit out with the precision tip and just work it around with my fingers. And then we'll let it set and dry. But I think a little spot there. Most of it is pretty. Yep. And then I go around and just slide my hands around the edge. Okay. Then I'm going to grab my little strips that I had and just to keep, any fray craziness from sticking to it. The stickiness really doesn't matter. At all. I do try to bend my covers a bit while they're still sort of gluey and wet, just to make sure that, I don't want I don't want my covers to crack. So just slowly work them. And then they round around that corner and with that tape protects it. That's glue right there. So sorry about that. Okay, so now it needs to set and dry. But I don't know. Hopefully you can see the texture of this cover is just amazing as a leather look. And we haven't added any ink or anything like that to it. We'll let it dry. And then the next part we come back to, we will ink the outside, these insides, and we'll put paper on the inside. This is going to be a hidden spine. So we'll be doing the spine onto, a hidden spine that we'll glue in here. But yeah, so this we are cover, and it's got some pretty crazy texture going on. Okay, Well, we will be back again for part 2 of the cover, and it'll go a lot faster then because this will just glue in like paper on these two sides. We'll have to ink it and all that. Then it'll have to dry. So I may actually post part 2 of inking it and everything today. I might try to get all of it released today for the cover, but it'll be in 3 separate sections. But I'll make sure I list them on there and link them in the playlist. So they're one after another. But yes, amazing texture there, guys. I mean, that's going to look great like a leather bound journal. Okay, we will see you for part 2 of the covers when this dries. We'll be back and we'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Bye now.